Okay, I'm delighted today to be joined by another Dan Evans. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
It's For those of you watching and listening that don't know, Dan's actually probably the person that you've heard from the most this season, but never knew you were. So Dan's been reporting on all of our games, doing all the Twitter updates, doing everything, all the interviews with Danny and all the other sort of players and the staff. So Dan, how's that been for this season? How have you found it?
It's been really exciting at parts. Some parts have been better than others. Like obviously after a game when we've won, it's a great job to have. After a game when we've lost, it's not such an exciting job to have to write the match reports and interview Danny. It's not quite as enjoyable, but the overall experience was brilliant over the past season. So yeah, it's something I really enjoyed.
So it's always quite weird, isn't it? 'Cause, my image of you, obviously in the game, obviously you're on it and you're going through, and then at that sort of 90 minutes, everyone disappears from the stand and you're in action. You can see your sort of
Yeah.
laptops out, going for it, going right. I need to get this match report off. How does it feel, sort of like, as you say, that emotion you have when a game finishes, but then have to put it into paper, get it to the non-league, get it onto the website?
Yeah, it's quite strange, obviously, because everyone else's jobs are sort of geared towards like the 90 minutes, the match itself. Obviously, I've got to be aware of what's going on to make sure the right things go in the match report. But yeah, everyone's leaving the ground. It's just me sat there on my own on my laptop, trying to get like as many words in as possible, especially with the non-league paper, because there'll be like a word limit for that. So it's a bit more of a difficult skill to do than just like a traditional match report. So yeah, it is a bit different to anything I've done before, but like I say, it's been a really good experience. And it's something I'm glad that I did.
So let's talk about that. Obviously, you've taken this role on for a year, and obviously, unfortunately for us, that you're leaving, and we're looking to replace you. But what were you doing before, and what have you looked to try and get out of doing the role, and where you're going to, really?
Okay, so my whole sort of journalism experience, my sports journalism experience started during the first lockdown when COVID first sort of kicked off in the UK. I did an online journalism course then. From there, that sort of escalated to writing for different publications online. And one of them got me access to like football league games towards the end of the main COVID season, where most games were behind closed doors. And yeah, that was a really good sort of learning experience, but that was mostly writing sort of features on games and sort of less detail, less like game detail, less like deadlines, a bit more like trying to express yourself, I guess, and like find different themes within a game. And so when this role came up, I was moving back to Bath University. Obviously, Frome and Bath are like fairly close. So this seemed like a good opportunity to sort of round off my skill set. And that's what I think it did in the end. Sort of helped me to write match reports to a deadline and interviews with Danny. Like these are all things I hadn't done before. And like as the season went on, I like to think they got slightly better and like I was improving as it went along. So yeah, as much as it was about me improving, it was also about being part of something at a really sort of special football club as it turned out to be. So yeah, it was a really good experience this year, I think.
I think it was in the first pre-season. I said that don't worry, you're reporting on the best team in the league, you'll be fine. I got it slightly wrong. We were the second best team in the league. But so yeah, so those experiences you've talked about those, and also what's it like having that responsibility then to go and sort of interview Danny sort of minutes after a game's finished? I know like across non-league it's becoming more, should we say, standard for this to happen to
Yeah.
the managers, but we've been doing it for a couple of years now. But that sort of moment, how do you find it being the other side of the camera? Because we hear your voice, but obviously we don't see you.
Yeah. Well, at the start of the season, I was definitely quite sort of self-conscious about it. Like I didn't really like hearing my voice back. I guess the guys, because the interviews we do, whenever I explain them to someone, I'm always like, it's like a match of the day interview. So when they do the manager after the game, it's like the manager talking head, and then you don't see the person behind the camera, like you're saying. And yeah, so it's quite at the start I was quite nervous about doing it. I wasn't so confident about what the right questions were to ask, what I shouldn't like touch on. But because Danny's so sort of relaxed, even when we've had bad results or bad defeats, like Danny's always happy to talk, and he'll always give me something to work with, I guess. Like there's never a situation where I feel like it's something he doesn't want to do, or it's something that he thinks is sort of a waste of time. I think that's really useful. I think it is a good thing that we do as well, because it helps attract people to the social media pages and stuff like that. And it's good for sort of the fans as well. They want to know what Danny thinks about the game, don't they? So yeah, overall it's a really useful thing for the club, and I think it's a useful thing for me as well.
I couldn't agree more, and I think it's I think from a fan point of view, the speed that you turn things round. So like when you're a fan and you're leaving the ground and you think, right, I've just got home, and you can read the match report, you've got the video from Danny up there as well, or then in the next sort of hour or so, and it does answer those questions, because all too often you walk away from a football match thinking, God, what were they thinking, or what we did, and to have that sort of thing there, and for it not to sort of be sort of like Monday, sort of Tuesday, or not at all coming out,
Yeah.
I think it's good. So so you sort of mentioned with Danny, have you had opportunity to sort of spend time with the team? Obviously the traveling, those sort of things, have they embraced you into it, or how have you
yeah, everyone that I've come across has been really sort of helpful with me. They've always been really friendly. I think that's sort of the atmosphere at the club. Like everyone from like the chairman to Danny to the players, like everyone's part of the same thing. Like everyone's trying to push in the same direction. There's no sense of like, well, you do that, so you stick with that sort of department and don't get involved. Like I think what has made it such a sort of big part of my life being with Frome this season was how much everyone sort of embraces each other. So yeah, like you are, I don't want to sound sort of cliche or anything, but it is kind of like you're joining like a family or whatever. It is a great place to go every Saturday or every other Saturday, I guess.
So someone that you seemingly got quite close to is obviously the analytics team. Obviously we've got Tom and the other lads involved in that. Has that been quite nice then to sort of go around as a kind of unit together, just so that you're kind of not alone sat in Evesham or Plymouth?
Yeah, definitely. So because we're obviously looking at the game in a different way, Tom and the analysis team were obviously looking at it in a more analytical way, whereas I'm just trying to describe what's happening. I guess yes, they think what I do is easier, and I think what they do is easier. It's like a to and fro, but obviously it is good to have someone that you're always with. And it's going to be strange. Well, it is strange. Like we've had a couple of weeks since the season finished. Now it's strange not seeing Tom every Saturday and just being like, "Oh, how's your week been?" La, la, la. And like talking about the games, like how the last game went, what you think's going to happen today. So yeah, there's no sense of, like I was saying earlier, there's no sense of like you're the match reporter, that's what you do. There's nothing else. Like you're always involved with other people and sort of talking with other people. So yeah, it's like a really big like community thing, I think.
That's fantastic. So obviously you're moving on. Tell us a little bit what now, obviously your experiences through doing the sort of league reporting and the articles, now doing this stuff for Frome. What's the next step for Dan?
So next year in September, I'm starting a sports journalism master's degree, as long as I graduate from my undergraduate degree in a few weeks' time, at a place called St. Mary's in Twickenham. So hopefully that's like a launch for me, I guess, into the world of sports journalism in a more sort of formal sense. So yeah, hopefully it keeps sort of progressing along the track that it's on now, and you never know, might keep getting better and better and end up at like World Cup finals or Champions League finals or whatever. But still, sort of, it was great that one of my first like match reporting experience was Frome, which hopefully I can keep going up and up from there.
Well, we just have to chase you, Dan. That's the thing. So, like, as you progress up, we'll progress up as well.
Hopefully.
So you can cover Frome in the Champions League final. We'll
yeah, why not?
But yeah, so I think it's, from me personally, and I know obviously from the board, and the team behind, we've found it fantastic to have you as part of the team. We really wish you well in the rest of your journeys, and we're glad that there's going to be another journalist out there, one that's good and two that knows how to say Frome as well, which is a real plus.
I didn't at the start. I definitely didn't know how to say it at the start.
I don't think anyone did. I think when we've had match reporting and you can just hear it and you're there going, right, so the commentators, and you just want to whisper in their ear and say, you're saying it wrong. So yeah. But Dan, thank you for your time today. Thank you again for everything you've done in the club, and obviously don't be a stranger if you're ever back in the area, or if you're into an area near you. I know obviously you'll be a bit far away now, but it'd be great to sort of host you and have you back. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much, Scott. That's really kind of you to say.
And that just leads me to sort of say, well, obviously we now need to replace you. So if anyone is listening fancies being the new Dan, you've got very, very big
Ooh, I'm
shoes
not
to
sure
fill.
about that.
Very big shoes to fill. So yeah, get in touch. And again, thank you, Dan. Thanks for everything you've done, and we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Scott.